Hi, sugar berries, and all the amazing people watching this channel right now. You are welcome to another video on Halimah TheBird's channel. I mean, I already introduced myself like that. So, yeah, let's talk about Shanty Town. If you're new, you're welcome. You see my face for the first time, you're coming to my channel for the first time. I want to officially welcome you on board to this family. Yes, because you're going to subscribe before you leave here and you're going to enjoy this video. So please stay tuned and let's talk everything Shanty Town. So Shanty Town, it's a movie that was directed by Damijo and it features a lot of amazing people, right? It features a lot of popular faces. It is a star-studded cast, right? We have Isime, we have RMD, we have Ini Edo, we have Shafi Bello, Sola Sobowale, Isime, Chidi Mokeme, Peter Okoye, Messi, Eke, Zubi Michael, Ali Nuhu. Who else was in this film? That's all like Uche Jumbo. Basically, that's the cast, right? It is star-studded. I mean, I even saw a mommy that has somewhere in it. I saw, like in different things, you see some people like, oh, this person is also in this movie, Toya Imaku. It was star-studded. And I'm just going to take you right through everything, the story, the setting, literally everything we always talk about in our video. So let us start with the story, right? The story is of a kingpin, right? It's called Scar. He is the major character to a major character's story. I don't know if I'm making sense, but he's like the face of a brand, right? While there is somebody else that does the operation on the ground. So yes, Scar is a drug dealer. He is a kidnapper. He runs a prostitution company or institution, whatever I want to call it. He sells body parts. He name it, all the terrible things you can think of that a human can do, he does it. So yeah, that's who Scar is. So it is a typical kind of drug lord kind of movie in every American movie, Nigerian movie, where the police is creating a case against you as a drug lord. They're trying to find out who is in charge. They're trying to pin you down because you are also a major part of the operation. And yeah, you're running your business, you're answering to the bosses, you have challenges, you're killing people on one side, you're doing all of that. So basically, that's what Shanty Town is. Shanty Town means a slum, right? The ghetto. So yeah, that's what Shanty Town is, and that is where Scar is God, right? Scar rules Shanty Town. There is Ini Edo, who plays Inem in the movie. She is also a major character. She was in When we were introduced to the story, we see that Inem was in prison and she was getting released from prison. She calls Ene, played by Nsekpe Etim, to come and pick her up and all of that, and she returns to Shanty Town. So now we see that many of the girls in Shanty Town are trying to leave Shanty Town because they don't want to be there. They're using them to make money, and their boss, who is Scar, takes 60% of whatever their client pays them. So imagine you're working to pay 60%, you still have food there, you still have security, you still have basically everything else, right? And you're still going to pay 60%. So there's a particular amount of money you need to pay Scar to get freedom, right? It's like they're training you and you're getting freedom at the end of it. So yeah, we see Messieke getting freedom, and then we see Nancy Isime also trying to get freedom, and then we see how our own story progresses, how she falls in love, or Peter Okoye falls in love with her, something around that line. I really don't know if it was love or lust, or they were just cruising with each other at some point. Kind of got confused in between. But yeah, we see that story progress. We see the story of RMD, who plays Chief Ferdanez, how he is the mastermind of all the operations. He runs things beneath, and he's contesting for the governor of Lagos State. We see Shafi Bello. She played Dame or Dame. I don't know how her name is pronounced. She plays that role in the movie, and she's the current governor of Lagos State. There's Uche Jumbo, who is an officer, a detective, and then there's Ene, who runs the prostitution business. Like, she's like the queen mother of the prostitutes in Shanty Town. There's also Sola Sobowale, who is like their should I call her a ritualist or an herbalist? I don't even know what to call her. But yeah, she has Ogu. She's the one that does all the protection and all of that for the girls, Sky himself and all of that. I think I've pointed like each cast to the role they play. Yeah, Peter Okoye plays the son of Chief Fernandez, he plays Femi Fernandez. And then there's Zubi Michael, who plays like the assistant of Sky. He plays Colorado in the film. That's why they call him Colorado. So yeah, that's pretty much like everybody and how they fit into the story. I feel like I've been able to like combine everything into one. The story progresses from Scar running Shanty Town to him being told to stop business in Shanty Town, and then he trying to bring down Chief Fernandez, and then he getting caught and all of that. So yeah, it is a series. So let's say a film. It is a series, right? It's a Netflix original series, and it is 6 episodes, 30-40 minutes max for each episode. Though I learned that it was supposed to be a 2-hour film, before Netflix converted it into a series, which I honestly don't get the idea why they did that. It could have done as a film, right? So let us talk about the cast. I said it before that it was star-studded. I want to add that it was a perfect cast. Everybody understood their assignments and they delivered. Guys, they delivered. Ini Edo, I felt every emotion she felt. There was this particular scene where she got really teary. I felt every emotion rush through her veins. Scar was perfect. His body language, his eyes, his movement, his tone, the mix of languages, Yoruba, English, Pidgin, everything about Scar was perfect. I have never seen him take getting in this light before, ever. And seeing her play like this, Queen Pin, it was amazing. I loved it. I super loved it. I feel like almost everybody was good. Some people that I didn't really feel their roles, I would say Shafi Bello. I She had the poise, right? She had the elegance, but her delivery, I wasn't really feeling it. So for the story they are trying to tell, I also think that it was a very good story. It was an excellent one. It digs deep. It feels very original to Eko, because we know that there are so many Baba Sales. We know that they run so many. We don't know because maybe they have been exposed. But deep down we know one or two things happen within Lagos and we just hear stories on the internet. And I mean, we see things on the road and all of that. So yeah, we know that this story feels very original. It does feel like they are telling the story of a candidate that is trying to, run for election in Lagos, or in Nigeria or whatnot. Like basically, it is a very relatable Nigerian story. That's what I'm trying to say, right? It's just like the way King of Boys was also very relatable. It felt so original. That's one thing I loved about this story. Setting. So as much as I didn't think it was a bad setting, because we had like dark lights in many of the scenes. I also feel like we could have seen the streets more. And when I talk about the streets, right, I mean like actual streets, because many of these women that do like basic prostitution and all these gang leaders and stuff, they basically live on the streets. They do have houses, right? They go to their houses, but I feel like more activity should have gone on the streets than in specific locations, but it was not bad. I also feel like they were trying to sell Koinor to us, but whatever, that really doesn't matter. But yeah, the setting was good, the story was good, the cast was perfect. I did love the language, right? The fact that they used the language a lot of times, that is the conversations between Inem and Ene, it made me feel this kind of bond between them, this sisterhood, that like there was an actual connection between them. I really liked that, and it also made the movie explore different languages, because there was English, there was Yoruba, there was Igbo, and there was Ibibio. And for the fact that we don't see a lot of Nigerian movies use languages like that, it's majorly English, Yoruba, Hausa, right? Ibibio is one of those language that you say when you say Yoruba, English, Hausa. You don't say other languages. So they use other languages, and I really like that about the movie. Music. I didn't really feel that. I feel like though they used original sounds, but I wasn't really feeling them. I feel like maybe the sounds were not as perfect as I expected them to be. The plot progression now, that was one thing I had a problem with. Um, it was slow. It could have been shorter. A lot of things were dragged. The dialogue, they were tiring. I got tired of so many dialogues. Like, can you just? I was like literally just skipping 10 seconds, 10 seconds. Yeah, I'm serious. So yeah, the dialogues were a bit boring. They were tiring. They could have been short. Like, if you wanted to say 10 things, you could have said them in 3 sentences, and it would have been perfect. Shafi Bello. Now, I didn't really like her delivery because, for instance, in the scene where she met with Scar, and she kept like every sentence she said, she adds Scar. I got tired of that. I got tired of that, to be honest. Like, I had to skip. Like, okay, and it's not like we're saying anything relevant that you would actually miss out on, right? Because we know what's going to happen in this thing. So it's like we're just wasting time. And for something that's supposed to be an action film, for instance, if it was a movie like, say, The Wait, right? The Wait is not supposed to be like an interesting, enthralling, or be enthralling movie or whatnot. So the way that if it was dragged like that, I would excuse that. But in an action film, like, get straight to the point. Do not waste my time. It was dragged. I did not like that it was dragged. And there were a lot of questions here and there that I had. And I'm like, how did this happen? For instance, the scene where Shalewa listens to a voice note, right? We know that Jackie did not send the voice note. So how is Shalewa listening to a voice note? All we saw was that Jackie was trying to call Shalewa. She never sent a voice note, right? So how is there a voice note? That was very questionable. I wasn't really feeling the attraction between Femi Fernandez and Shalewa because I feel like in a normal world, right? How often does that happen? A rich kid, right? An actual rich kid just falls in love with. I don't know if it was love because it did feel like love from Femi's end because I mean taking her on a romantic date and all of that. That was him, pushing further. If it was just sex, he could have just asked her for it and he would pay her off. She'd be a shower, right? The nudity. I didn't feel like it was necessary though. I feel like though it did create buzz, a lot of buzz on social media, but I felt like they could have done without it. It didn't really add anything to the movie for me. It didn't remove anything. If they've left it there, if they did not leave it there. Personally, I'm always unbothered about nudity in movies and all of that. As long as it is not like a major thing where it now affects the story, right? It was just there. And I think it kind of solidified their reality, right? This is something that could actually happen. The scene where Scar puts the touch and follow whatever on um Femi Fernandez's neck, we just saw Shalewa with that same neck piece in the bathroom. So how did Scar get it? Another thing was, how did Scar escape? When the police were all over the place. I had so many questions, guys. I had so many questions, but yeah, those are the ones I can actually remember right now, and I feel like those were like the most important ones. I do think that the story was dragged. I do feel like it doesn't need a season two. Um, it was okay as just a movie. A 2-hour movie would have been good, and they could have ended it there. But now that it's going to have a season two, what are we expecting? They said, okay, I don't want to give spoilers, but the way it ended, the notes they gave us at the end, we know that okay, this happened, that happened, that happened. So yeah, there's actually so much to wait for in season two, but it could have just ended like that. But I definitely need to give Xavier his credit because it was an incredible story. I absolutely loved the storyline. But yeah, in all, right, it wasn't a bad movie at all. Like, it doesn't even qualify for bad. It was an interesting watch. I did enjoy, the cast. Like, they gave me something I would love to hold on to. But it could get tiring at some point. It could get a little boring at some point because of the dialogue majorly. But yeah, in all, I think I would rate it a 6. A 6 is fair because If they had done so much more, it would have gotten so much better. But because the cast delivered, and they worked with what they had and they did so well, that's why it's getting a 6. So yeah, that is my review on Shanty Town. If you have anything to tell me, please do in the comment section. I know you have a lot to say, you have a lot to share. You probably don't agree with some of the things I said in the movie, in the review. So please tell me in the comment section. I want to read from you. I want to know what you think about this movie, this series rather, in the comment section below. And I will see you guys in my next video. But before you leave, please click that subscribe button.